Hi, my name is Christopher Henley. I'm the series producer for Redacted.
Hi, my name is Mina Vazirian, and I am the line producer for Redacted.
As a series producer, my job is to oversee the production and the producing aspects over all episodes of this season. So I was a part of casting, finding directors, finding DPs, getting crew and gear through all 5 episodes, even if I was on the crew for each of those episodes.
So as a line producer, I'm in charge of managing the budget and the general schedule for production. We were working with a smaller budget for this series for season 1, so I was in charge of making sure we didn't go over and that each department, like wardrobe, art, hair and makeup, got enough money to purchase things that they needed to make the series come to life.
So the showrunners for the project approached me back almost, over a year ago with this idea of, doing an SCP show. I had never heard of SCP ever. They're the ones who introduced me to it. But the second that I was introduced to it, I fell in love instantly. I'm a big sci-fi fan. And the fact that it was all community-driven, community-written stories was a major pull for me.
Before coming on to this project, I knew absolutely nothing about SCP. Harley and Christian and Chris introduced me to it, familiarized me with the community as a whole. I think that's a big factor of the SCP world, is it's not just these stories and an online forum where you can read files and really dive into everything. It's very community-based. And they really exposed me to all of the content creators and the different animated videos and the few live action content that's available online. So some of the challenges on this season of Redacted was definitely dealing with the lower budget. We've worked with lower budgets before, but coming onto this project, we had to take an already small amount of money and stretch it over 5 episodes, which put each episode at a particularly low amount. So the biggest challenge was, we had a lot of dedicated cast and crew members who were, coming out to Riverside, coming out here to film with us for free and putting in, their time and energy into making this project look as good as it does. And with that, we had to make sure, we were feeding them, and obviously everything set decoration wise, camera wise, equipment, any hair and makeup needs were already purchased. And that was probably the biggest challenge, is having to stretch such a small amount of money.
Deciding to do an entire series where each episode is different, following a different story, I knew was going to be a challenge from the beginning. Casting that alone is insane. That's 5 different casts, 5 different background actors, 5 different SAG contracts, everything. And I couldn't have done it without our casting department, Gabby and Abby. Gabby and Abby are really underappreciated, I feel like. They work a lot of behind the scenes. They were able to post our episodes on Backstage and Actors Access, which really increased our reach for the talent pool. I think collectively over the 5 episodes, we probably had over 3,000 auditions, people who wanted to actually audition over the 5 episodes. Episode 2 had 1,400 submissions, episode 5 had 1,700 submissions alone. And to go through each of those actors and decide, which ones do we want to audition with the sides, which ones do we want to do a callback for, was insane. This took days to pull off, and a lot of times, especially for some of the episodes that had quick turnaround, they did this in the span of a week, sifting through each one and then asking a small pool to audition, and then once they audition, then you go through all of them and then deciding based off of those ones who's your favorites, and then making them do a callback if you want one. This took weeks and weeks of work, and sometimes we pulled it off in something that should have taken months to do and done it in 2 weeks. And we had some really talented actors on this set, and we would never have been able to find them if it wasn't for Gabby and Abby. My favorite episode for this first season, I want to say it's episode 5, but I think probably my favorite episode this season was episode 3. The story and just being on set and just everything, the actors about it. It's just a really solid episode, and it's a lot of fun.
I think my favorite episode on this season was episode 2, but that was also the hardest episode to film. So I have like a weird love-hate relationship with it because there was a lot of moving pieces. It was a period piece set in the 80s, and again, we're working on that low budget. We were trying really hard to stay true to the time and what the director wanted and needed to execute it, to make sure it's, accurate to what's going on at that point in the 80s. And I love the 80s, and I love everything about the 80s, so I loved that episode. But again, we had to find all these very specific set deck pieces and, certain like lingo and computer pieces and different things had to match the time, which made it logistically a lot harder to put together, but it had to be one of my favorite overall. We had a lot of extras as well, which, added that extra level of coordinating with them, with what times they needed to be here, scheduling it so we're not crowded in. We're also working under COVID, obviously, so making sure everyone is being safe, and that we're not crowding everywhere and everyone's all in each other's space. But yeah, that had to be my favorite episode 2.
We wanted to show the SCP community what we could do, gain their trust, show them like, hey, this is what we do, this is how we do it, offer a higher quality production value, and really just getting into the stories and just being like, hey, we want to do more of this. And so the key thing for us is, if you like it, show your support, subscribe, like, comment, tell us whether you hated it or liked it or what we can do to improve, because that's really what we want to do. If we decide to go on and do bigger SCP things or smaller SCP things, like, really, we want to hear it from the community. And if the community doesn't want us to do it, then we won't do it. So I think the key thing is just like focusing in on like, we want to show you what we can do. That's what this first season is. So please tell us, how did we do? Did you like it? Because if you did, we would love to do more.